Great. Check. Here we go.
Check, check.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Like it.
Never let the intro go on this
You
long.
know, the intro has some intro.
Man,
It goes hard.
it slaps.
It slaps. Hello. All right. And we're live. Oh, and you can see our kitchen.
Ooh, wait, you can?
Yeah.
On the big shot?
On the big shot. We're on the big live shot.
Let's see it. Okay, it's not that messy on the countertop right there. That's good. It's so fun to be live. It's a great day to be live. I know the sun is shining on YouTube Live. I'm going to get sued. We're just doing some little, Jeremiah's doing some techie adjustments, getting it all set and ready. You know, there's a lot that goes into this, you guys, and we do our best. We do our best. I think your butt's in the shot, but that's okay. We do our best, and we're getting it all set up for you. We're doing good. We're happy to be here. And here he is.
Here we are.
Listen.
We did it. We made it barely on time.
Okay, here's my question.
Yes.
Are you going to be shouting into the mic?
I will not be shouting to the mic.
And if so, do you need to adjust that situation?
No, I'm coming in clear. Are you coming in clear?
Yeah, so listen to me. Here's my thing. Should we talk to the lovely people about how we fight every single day that we do this podcast?
It's part of going into business with one another, right?
I don't know. I mean, we've done a lot of business type things together and working together a lot. And we have our little bickery moments, but we have had an argument every single day that we have done this podcast right before the podcast. I just want to put it out there. I just want the people to know. I want the people to know what's going on, and I want them to see us for who we are. Not a big fight. We're not we don't yell at each other. Our fighting is it's, I think all fighting actually is just a series of unmet expectations.
Okay.
Maybe even unsaid expectations.
Unsaid expectations, unmet expectations. That's what they say, right?
It's what I just said.
But it's what they say.
Who?
The peeps.
Are you even listening to me?
Yes. And my microphone's not even working. That's how great this is.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes, 1 2. Check 1 2.
Are we going to have to share a mic?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. You messed with my microphone.
I didn't touch it.
You
Actually, I did touch it. I moved it down.
This is what I'm talking about, guys.
Who-
This is what I have to deal with.
Who knew
Check
that?
1, 2.
Who
There we
knew
go.
that pointing your microphone appropriately at your
knew?
mouth would be the end of this podcast and the end of our lives?
It's
I didn't know.
It's the literal end.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So we don't have anyone watching right now.
that's fine because nobody wants to watch us argue.
I know. So let's invite them into what we call
The afterthoughts.
the afterthoughts.
Welcome to the afterthoughts.
My name is Jeremiah, and this is my lovely wife.
Alyssa, did you forget my name again?
No.
That happens sometimes.
No, here we go. I'm going to do the lower thirds just so they can see. They didn't. Look at that.
Oh, it's cute. Oh, whoops.
So. Do it again. So, okay.
Why do we argue so much? Let's air it out here and now
So
and solve the problems.
we want to talk about two things today. Communication, because we talked a little bit about it, but I want to start from the beginning with it and then talk about arguments and why do we argue? Well, I think the reason why we argue is because we know the person so well.
Mhm.
A lot of times if we're not going to be like this with our bosses, with those are people that we feel like we kind of don't know, but it's the people that closest to us that we feel like we can stand up to and argue and bicker and go against one another. And I think that's, I think there's a healthy way to do that, but I think there's also a time to like reel ourselves back into that. I don't know. I'm rambling on right now.
Sorry that I accidentally yawned on camera while you were talking.
It's maybe that's why we argue. That I feel like I'm putting all the effort in. No.
You don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way.
And you know it's not true.
The reason people watch is because you're on. People don't watch because of me. They watch because of you.
You don't think so?
Look at the viewership.
You know what? I would have nothing to joke about if you weren't here. So someone's got to be the butt.
Am I just the butt of the joke?
You're the butt.
The butt.
Everybody needs a butt.
And I'm the butt.
And
am I the butt?
And you're a very nice butt.
Hairy too.
Oh.
Here we go. Listen up.
I think that we argue because you are really, really excited about this. You're super excited about this podcast and about doing it together. And you made me all kinds of promises when we started. And you were selling it to me really hard of like, as far as like my time, what my time commitment would be and what my involvement would be. Because you know how busy I am all day with the kids, how I'm trying to run this home, all these different things. I know we also do ministry together. I spend a lot of time on that in addition to homeschooling and all the normal things of just being parents. And when you were like, let's do this podcast, I promise all you have to do is just show up and deliver the content.
And
all you have to do is just sit here and just talk to me. And if you just promise me that you'll do it every week, it'll be great. And I was like, okay, I think we can commit to that. Like, I think I can do that. And then as things come up, time ticks, things happen.
This is true.
Life changes, different things happen. And then the expectations change without there necessarily being any kind of verbalization of that.
I agree that there is. It's not expectations haven't changed. It's more the fact that like, I'm just like, when we're ready to go, we need to be ready to go. And like, you're like, I'll take my time. And I feel like you're taking your time. And so like, to me, if I don't see you hustling, it's like, oh, like my focus is I'm here with you and we're providing this place where we come together, invite people into our worlds. And I want you to be a part of that.
I'm a part of it. I'm half of it.
You are half of
I'm a big part of it.
Yes.
And I hustle in other ways. I'm hustling.
I'm
hustling all day.
Hustling all day.
Hustling all day.
You are hustling all day.
So I think that's where the breakdown happens. And I feel like both of us, again, we have expectations.
So let's go back to why we can talk to each other this way.
Let's segue into our afterthoughts.
Our afterthoughts. We need to make a sign for that.
So on Tuesday, we talked about communication. And so this is like our follow-up to that. What we do is basically Tuesday, we have like set things we want to talk about. And then if anything else comes up that we feel excited to discuss or to like elaborate on further, we put it in our afterthoughts. And we wanted to talk more about communication because that is something that we both feel we do well and uniquely. And when I say well, I mean that we communicate a lot. I would say we do it in abundance. Not that we do it perfectly, because there are people who communicate extremely well, super patient, very loving at all times, very clear, supportive of each other. We don't always do it perfectly, but we communicate everything, I think.
Yeah, there's no secrets between us, and if there is feelings to be had, we say them. Like,
And like we read each other so well that there's no way that either of us could like stuff down anything where the other one wouldn't notice.
and I
And we
think,
call it out.
yeah, and it's respectful. So early in our marriage, we kind of figured that out, that we needed to communicate because unmet expectations, frustrations, things would come about that would that would hinder us, right, from growing to know each other, and like it would cause us to like stumble a little bit in the sense of these frustration tensions. But as soon as we learn, like, hey, we can just talk to each other. Like we can just talk to each other
That was a
and
really magical day, actually.
yeah.
Or that season of like, I think that we started talking more seriously about communication. Like, I want to say after we got engaged. Because when you're dating, I think you're always doing your absolute best, putting your best foot forward. And we didn't fight super much during dating. Like, we definitely had like tension or disagreements here and there,
Yeah.
but we were always trying to make the other one happy. And once we got engaged, it was just like bricks, like,
Yeah,
like
there's a
it
lot.
hit the fan where I was like, it's like everything that happens goes from being some cute little quirk to like, can I live with that for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And it just shifts.
Well, and when you live together, everything shifts, right? Like you do things that the other person, you've done it all your life. So why would it matter? And
Mhm.
like these things that will come up like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of specifics, but like
I could
how.
think of specifics.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. It's like you can think, and I'm like, I'm oblivious at times. And so,
Well, you're a big picture guy. And
mhm,
that's exactly how I would describe us. You're the dreamer, the idea man, the big picture, the long run. Sometimes the short, immediate, but the long run, I think, as well. And I am the logical, how are you physically going to execute this person? I'm a details person. I'm an organized person. I'm like you can have a dream all you want, but if you're not taking steps, it's not going to happen and it's not going to pan out the way you want. And you had experiences of having big dreams, not planning it out as you should have, and then it crashing to the ground. And then me watching that, wondering like, how much should I have involved myself in helping you? Did you want my help? Should I assume that you want my help? Should I wait for you to ask for my help? Like those, learning that stuff in our day-to-day lives, you know?
I agree.
And when we got engaged, it was like, here's an example. Can I tell you this example? So when we were on our trip to New York, and I feel like there was a lot of communication being had because that was our first trip away together.
Yeah, and we were like together. Like
We were with my mom. We were staying with
extended amount of time together. Like this is like
yes.
staying like, yeah.
And we had recently in the past few months, so it was like 2 months before that, we had spent 4 months apart. So that was like our long distance season. We were with each other for like 2 or 3 months, and then we went on this trip to New York to visit my mom. And so we're with family, we're hanging out, and it was like just being together that long. And you had already asked me to marry you the day before that trip. That was when you asked me to marry you. And I just remember there were so many times that I was like, I feel like I would say something and try to be casual and cool, and then you would not take it until I said, listen, I'm telling you this. And by that point, you were like, you're so angry. You're taking a tone with me. And then I would say, I said it nicely first, and you didn't respond, or you didn't listen, or you didn't whatever. And so we had to develop. Do you remember what we did?
No, I
Do you
forgot.
remember
I
what we
forgot
did?
this.
I told you when I feel myself getting frustrated that you're not listening to me, I'm going to whisper.
Oh yeah.
And I started the whole trip. I started
You whisper,
whispering at you.
See,
I whispered to you the whole time because I wanted to. Because when I felt myself starting to bubble up and get frustrated at you for not listening or not doing the thing I asked or whatever it was, trying to communicate, and you were like not listening, and I would be like, Jeremiah,
I remember that.
I need you to listen, and that got your
That
attention.
got my attention.
And it was a way for me to gently tell you, and I don't have to whisper at you so much anymore.
No, it's funny. They use that same technique with our children now.
I do
You
it,
talk with like
Miss Rachel. I do the Miss Rachel voice
If
at
you
them.
know Mama has Miss Rachel voice, she is gonna be
About to blow a top.
About to blow a top. About to rock and roll some heads. Okay. If she starts sharing about Miss Rachel, you're like,
What do
all
I
right.
sound like? Can you tell me what I sound like?
All right, children. Time to pick up your clothes. If I have to tell you again, Mama is not going to be very happy.
I do that.
Yeah.
And I actually saw online that that's a really good, not that thing, but it's very helpful when you start to get angry to, if you feel yourself getting frustrated and emotions building up, to let it out in a few different ways. Like one would be doing a silly voice, or like, it was like a few different things of just tickle them really, really hard, or something where it just kind of like is a transfer of that energy, and it helps. And so, and I do, and when I do it enough, it catches them off guard. Like, and it's even to Joni, like I just start talking like Miss Rachel, and then the kids look at me and they're like, "Mommy, are you mad?" And I'm like, "You can't tell."
But they can tell.
They know.
They know.
But they'd rather me be mad at them and sound like Miss Rachel than be mad at them and sound like Mom.
Everything sounds better coming out of Miss Rachel's voice.
I agree. So, I mean, what did we want to say? Oh, this is something we wanted to bring up about communication. Is that how did we get to the point now where we're comfortable being honest, even when it's confrontational, even when it can be what some would consider disrespectful, like especially for a wife to speak to her husband that way, or for a husband to disregard something the wife says, or things like that. Like, how do you think we got to where we are now?
Yeah, so I think it started back when we've had moments in our marriage where it just, things have bubbled up to a certain point, and then we just kind of unload everything. And so I think it was till we moved around several times, and we've had our first, or maybe Judah. We had Judah, and we're about to have River. No, we had Judah, just Judah. And we're about to have River. That's exactly what I said.
We're tracking. We're following. Yeah.
And during that time, there was just a moment where I was just going through a rough season, and I just unloaded just my frustrations, my expectations, things that were going on in my life, things that were going on in my head. And I just unloaded everything onto Alyssa, like everything I was feeling. And it was a lot. It was very intense. It was a very intense conversation. It was a very intense season. But I think after that moment, I just got so much more comfortable with just communicating as it went on about everything. And so, like, when it came to me just telling her, hey, like, your tone of your voice is just so intense. And I've said that in the past, but just now it's more like, hey, I know I'm putting words behind your voice, but can you
feelings behind my tone,
your tone. And I learned that they don't, but it's just one of those things I can communicate that to her. Like, hey, I hear you. And I'm not good at that all the time, because my biggest issue is I hear my wife, but I don't respond. So that's something I need to work on.
Oh man, we had to fight about that today.
Yeah, all the time.
Every day.
It's all the time. Like, I hear her, and I'm focused on doing my thing.
What's happening is
I don't hear her with my eyes. Okay.
No, I don't care about your eyes. What happens is you're ignoring me. And whether you actually heard me or not, it's the choice to ignore me by not responding verbally or looking at me and giving me a nod or anything. It's like I say something to you and I'm like, Is that okay? Like, how do you feel about that? Is that all right? And
100%.
you say nothing and don't look at me.
Yeah.
And there have been times, the reason it comes up, there have been times where I say something to you and you have no memory of it and you completely forget and you don't remember, you don't do
Mhm.
it, and it's out in one ear, out the other. So I ask that from you to avoid that.
Mhm.
And then my frustration is like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to assist you. I'm
Mhm.
trying to serve us both in this conversation, and then I feel ignored. But in your heart, you're not trying to sideline me or make me feel ignored or make me feel invaluable. It's just you're processing that
Mhm.
information and it doesn't come out of your mouth.
Yes. And one thing I learned with those early talk is that if, it's just, we know each other's hearts going to the heart issue. Like, I know Alyssa's heart is for me, not against me, and she knows my heart is for her, not against her. And so she can talk to me and speak to me comfortably. And even though it may not sound kind or have the tonal inflection, I know her heart. So when she's saying something, I take it as like, even though it's maybe hard to swallow from who I am, I look past that and say, well, my wife is not here to harm me. We're on the same team, and we need to, like, she's just communicating me clearly what needs to be done to love her well. And do every time I just lock in and I'm good to go? No, that's not doesn't happen. But she still feels comfortable to tell me things and talk to me about all things as I am her. Like, she's able to correct me and I'm able to, like, take a deep breath and receive it because again, she's for me. And we've had that kind of that ability to do that because I feel like in our culture in the past, I've seen in, like, if you look at the traditional 50s marriage or 60s marriage, you very much have a, he's my husband, don't want to disturb him, leave him alone, let him do his thing. But my wife loves me too much to let me to just allow me to live in my flesh, live in my sin, that she's going to correct me. And like, some people's marriages are different and we just have that communication with us.
Well, I think what happened with us is that we communicated our expectations for our marriage like early on before we got married.
Yeah.
So we didn't arrive married never having discussed what the expectations were as far as even just the roles of a husband and the roles of a wife, because we don't take hyper traditional roles. We don't take hyper progressive roles. We found what works for us and we
Mm-hmm.
are on the same page with each other. And it comes with cultural differences and it comes with backgrounds, ways we were raised, like I'm talking like home culture and how we were raised, what our moms did, what our dads did, what was expected of the children. Like we had different upbringings with that, and every person is bringing that to the table. Every person is bringing their 5-year-old self, their 12-year-old self, their 17-year-old self, their adult self. That's all within you when you get married and you bring all those expectations together, which is like, that's a whole other thing. But I do remember talking to you in that chat that we had, that long talk, and just it was a mixture of like me kind of giving you the words that I would respond well to. Like, because before that talk, you had been like bubbling up, right? Like you had been
Mm-hmm.
all those things harboring, and then it was like this outburst of emotion, not like a negative outburst, but just a big outpouring.
There's a lot of different stress. It wasn't just Alyssa at the time. It was just, there's a lot of
Well,
different with kids
you're yeah,
moving, all job, all stuff.
being a man, being a provider, being a husband, being a Christ follower, being a father, all those things all building up, and you not really talking much about the pressure you were feeling and all of that. And I remember like telling you, just say XYZ, like just say, honey, I'm feeling stressed about this. But when you say nothing and you let it all build up without letting it out, like how am I even supposed to
Yeah.
know which way to help or which way to come alongside you?
And then I think we've done that. I've done that well. Where I'm like,
So well.
where like now it's like, honey, I'm just gonna say what's on my mind. Like, I'm thinking about this, this,
Hmm.
and this, and this, and this.
Or you've told me, I need a second to process because you haven't come up with the words yet, rather than me feeling ignored or
Mm-hmm.
sidelined when you don't talk about it. I'm like, well, you're storming around. And then you say, let me process what I'm feeling, and I'll come to you, and I will talk to you about it when I have the words.
Yeah.
Because I'm like solve it now, just say it, just say it, just say it. And you're like, give me a second.
I get overwhelmed easily. So saying that, like, that's what led to just when conflicts arise or when we bump shoulders, um, rub shoulders,
Neither.
bump or rub shoulders,
Neither of those things.
hands,
Nope.
knees.
Mm-mm.
We knock knees, and so saying
That's
that,
stop it.
that's
Does
something
that
else.
mean something?
Oh, I think it does. Okay,
Stop. We do that too, but not in this
that's sanitized.
conversation.
So, so in saying that is this, like, I'm able, like, we're even able to communicate, like, hey, that's not okay. Like when I'm rage cleaning, when I'm cleaning and I don't want to clean because I feel like everyone makes a mess and I don't want to clean messes on my day off, kind of thing. It's very immature, but it's something that happens. So because it's immature, it's because it's like not warranted for me to be angry in my home, because I want to be a home full of love and kindness. Alyssa says, hey, you need to take a second. You need to go take a break. You need to go pray. You need to go in the, just take a moment. And that's really bold and that's really hard to swallow at times. And but I know she's right and I trust her heart, and we communicate that language, so it's like a trigger word, like, oh, and it's like she wants me to do this so that I feel better, that my heart is in a better place, not because she want, like, it's not like, yes, for her too, she doesn't want to manage my emotions, but the reality is that I need to be, I need to remove myself and process, go to Jesus and come out and be loving and kind, and be happy for the home. Because ultimately, even more so now, it's not just Alyssa that I affect with my emotions, it's my children. And my children are a recipient of all my emotions. I don't get to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a quote today is that when you get frustrated with your kids, they don't love you less, they continue to love you, they love themselves less.
Wait, say it again.
They said when you get frustrated with your kids or nitpick at your kids, they don't love you less, they love themselves less.
Oh, ouch.
So just take that one in. That was a
Yeah.
good quote I saw. I was like, wow. So we need to be a home full of that. And I love my wife ability to call me out and say, hey, in the midst of my rage, in the midst, she doesn't have to fear that I'm going to lash out on her. She doesn't have to fear that I'm going to take it out on her. And it's like, what do you do? Who are you, woman? Like, I
Yeah.
don't have to, I don't have to worry. Like, she doesn't have to worry about that because she knows my heart and how our relationship has grown on a foundation.
We came to an agreement early,
Mm-hmm.
very early, that if I am acting out of line, I will receive it when you tell me to go take a break or take a second or step away. I will do it. And the same with you. If I feel like you are having big emotions that are unnecessary for the moment, I can tell you, you need to take a second, which is what you just said. Go pray, ask Jesus, what are these feelings coming from? And ask him to help you, because you can't say no to Jesus. So
Yes.
wives, take note. Tell your husband to go pray, and he can't really fight you on that.
Well, and the thing, it's a very like bold thing to do. I don't know how many.
And I do it in love, and I'm
No,
dead
yes,
serious. I'm
yeah,
serious, and I'm not like, you need to pray. You should just go ask Jesus for help. Like, it's 100% because I desire for you to grow, to be calm, to be full of the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience. I want you to have those things, and I want that to be what our kids see, because our kids are going to do what you do.
absolutely.
And it's a genuine thing of like, why don't you go take a second?
And it's when you feel so mad, when you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to
4.
4. And so Daniel Tiger there, and we need those moments as parents and as we're married. Like, I'm so appreciative that we have that communication, because it flows not only for those angry moments but for simple things. And we talked about that, like how I communicate my needs and she communicate her needs, and how, like, we're just very vocal, like
Mm-hmm.
how
I've had conversations with other married couples before who, in passing or whatever, how are things going? And just being like, oh, I'm having a hard time. Husband and I were fighting this morning, or fought last night or whatever. And I'm like, they tell me the situation, whatever it was, just something where someone has big emotions. And I asked this friend one time, well, why don't you just tell him, like, why don't you go take some time and pray, or go take some time and take an alone minute and then come back with a happy heart? And she goes, oh, I could never say that to my husband.
yeah.
And I was like,
I wonder if that's a respect thing, or like I wonder where that comes from.
well,
Like,
I think for sure that there's a respect side to it that I'm sure she was coming from, but also, isn't that a pride issue for
It,
him?
it could be, or like maybe it takes off the pressure of her managing his emotions.
That's true. And I have shared with you that before, that as much as I want to help guide you to say, hey, go take a break, I don't want to have to do that. I want you to recognize that you're feeling something big. And I want you to go say, you know what, I need to go pray for a minute.
Yeah. And it's a lot to not be prideful. It's hard to not, like, when you get in an argument and in the midst of it, to like receive that. But we all, like, no one can take your peace. No one, like, no, that anger that you might have in your heart, like, it's not because of someone else. You already had that in there.
The mouth speaks that which is in the heart.
Exactly. And so, yeah. And I think but communication, like having, I think that's where it starts, the heart, communicating your heart, knowing one's heart. So if there's like a takeaway from this whole conversation, get to know your couple's heart. Like those who may be partners. Yeah. So those who are maybe dating, those who may be getting ready for marriage, you better know their heart. You better know their heart.
Well,
and if their heart is like for you and not against you and your same team, that's great. But when their heart is for themselves and when their heart for them seeking, hey, you need to fix yourself to make me happy. No, that's the greatest thing about Alyssa is, like, you need to fix yourself to make you happy. She's thinking of me still, and not just for, yes, ultimately the fruit of that will come, to bless my family. But you have to know the heart. It's a little low heart. That's not
and
not
just and to be in agreement beforehand. And I think that's something I've talked to another friend of mine about that a lot, about just communicating with their spouse, about like just saying before we get into that tense argumentative situation, when it's calm, hey, what are some like safe words we can agree on, or some phrases that we both agree that we can say to each other and that we mean it in a good way,
and I picked
that we take it well.
And I picked that up from my sister. Like when my sister argues with her husband, early on, she told me we say M&Ms, because M&Ms was a time where they fought over something ridiculous and stupid, and they said, it's just M&Ms. It's ridiculous. It's not even worth it. And so when you get in these modes and you have like those safe words, like same team, they say M&Ms, it helps click your mind, like, oh, what are we doing? Like my partner here is my partner. We forget that.
You know what's one of my favorite words that we do? Let's start over, or let's reset.
And we might have to reset 1 or 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
But it's like,
can we reset? We both said, can we say, let's reset?
Let's reset.
And that is the trigger to an actual clean slate of, I'm going to turn off. Did my camera slide down?
No, your slide.
I am going to turn off my tone that I have, because you can hear me starting to get frustrated, and you are going to turn off defensiveness or the excuses or the
why in the world, and you're like, reset. I'm like, okay.
No, because I feel like when we have to reset, it's not that you're like bubbling up with anger. It's for you. It's a lot of times I think it's pride, and it
always. I would say I am a very prideful person, and I am trying not to be. That's the nature that I have to fight constantly. Like, get out of me, get out of me, get out of me.
So here's an example of that. It's like the trash example. Do you want to tell it?
No, go.
I'll tell it. The trash example, where I have given you, not even I have given you, it is your duty that you have taken on to be in charge of always taking out the trash.
As it should be.
All the trash in the whole house. Every time it's trash day. And it happens every so often, too often, that I have to remind you the trash is full, remind you to put a bag back in.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have to remind you to put the lid back on when we had a separate detaching lid to our trash can. Or remind you that you forgot the bathroom trash. Or remind you that there's another trash can in the kids' bathroom.
And they get it.
And
you're going to keep going through the trash cans.
And this is what would happen. You would become defensive. And I would have to, I don't want to have to say it, but if I didn't, it wouldn't get done. And there were times I would let it go, and I would be like, I'm just going to let him do it whenever he thinks. And then the trash is just piling up, and I literally can't throw anything away.
Piling up is tough.
Oh,
But I
stuffing it down
get it.
until it's
I
too
feel like
heavy to take out.
you couple more days and you could take it out. You can like really push it through. But I get the heart in it. And what happens is that she communicates this need. I know it, and I'm big brain
You
kind of
get
thing.
defensive. Like if I
But
have
I'm
to
saying I get
remind
dreamer,
you,
and I just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm slowing down and loving her well because I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But to her, it's a big deal because she's in the home all the time. I'm out working, I'm doing things, so I'm not faced with the what's happening right there. So I need to be present. In saying that,
sometimes
I
if
hear you.
I have to, sometimes if I
You're
have,
trying to grill me about the trash can right now.
no, not right now. What I'm trying to say, if you would listen, sometimes I have to remind you, and your issue is rather than just saying, oh, thanks for reminding me, is I know I have to take out the trash. I already know that. I'm just
Do I sound like that, chat? Do I sound like that? If I sound like that, you better put that in the comments. We're gonna get some validity here. We're gonna take sides.
It's my favorite thing whenever some people in my life exaggerate voices while they're telling stories. And I love to be like, and they said it like that too, huh?
We're going to replay that clip.
Dramatic.
And so, what are we even talking about?
I'm talking about how the issue between our communication a lot of times is that you become prideful and defensive.
Yes.
We're not even mad about the trash. Because if I have to say, oh, honey, the trash is full. Like, I know you're not the one that's throwing more things away. I'm the one that's cooking. I'm the one that's I'm cleaning. I'm the one who's filling the trash can. So I understand. I see it before you do. So if I notice it and I say, oh, honey, the trash is full, rather than being like, oh, yeah, thanks for reminding me.
I know. That's
like,
my biggest. You
get so defensive
I need to
about
work on that response. The response back is everything, everyone. If I would just say, yeah, I'll get to it.
No, I don't like, yeah, I'll get to it.
No,
I don't like that because you don't.
Okay, so thanks for reminding me.
Thanks for reminding me.
Thanks for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me.
Thanks.
Okay.
Or just go like this. Go, oh, I love you. You're the best mom and the best wife. Thank you so much for reminding me. And I don't give a rip if it's fake. Just do it.
The love of my life. Look me in my eyes and tell me.
I think we have really good tactics to approach our communication.
And that's what it's about, strategy in marriage.
And I don't think I can count on one hand in 10 years. I would say one hand, maybe a hand and a half. How many times we've gone to bed angry? Yeah,
very, very rare. And like we've gone through some heavy stuff, but all throughout that, like we're able to talk through it. And like the same nuggets that we're dropping here, you can drop in if you live with a roommate. And just talk it through, be adults. I think I'm just sick of like at this year and age of my life, I'm going to turn 33 soon. I'm like, why don't you just talk it out? Like, why just have these feelings and not be open with one another? I know it's hard. I know it's difficult conversations, but be grown adults. But okay, you have a sneeze fit.
The sneeze fit's coming back.
I think the longer we're on,
I get allergic too. You know what?
Allergic to
it must be the waves.
Baloney?
It's the waves. It's the internet waves. So I had a roommate in college where I had this conversation with her where like she and I weren't like super close, but are you okay?
You gotta speak into your microphone, not like to the side like here.
God bless me. It's happening, you guys.
Do you need to get up?
And I had to tell my roommate that I was like there were times where she would go out and stay out, spend the night somewhere else. And I would have like left a light on for her, or I would have been expecting her to come back, and then I would like wake up in the middle of the night, she's not there. And my thing is like I had a conversation with her where I was like, listen, like you don't have to I'm so sorry. I would say, you don't have to tell me where you're going. You don't have to invite me. We don't have to hang out. But if you could just like shoot me a text of like, I'm staying out tonight or I'm sleeping somewhere else. And then I know that you're not dead. Like it's a safety issue. It's like, it's a communication issue of like, there were times I was like frustrated because I was like, if she was like in a ditch somewhere, I would be the first one to notice that she's not. Thanks.
Got that one HD right there.
Oh, nice. Was it coming down?
It was coming down.
Was it slowly dripping out of my nose?
Oh, this is gross. This has become a different kind of
So
channel.
anyway, I'm sorry. I'm
Communicate.
so sneezy. I don't know why it just came over me.
My wifey.
Ooh,
My
wifey.
wifey is
She's a wifey.
But I was gonna say you're sneezy, sweaty.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, like you're the sweat. You're the 7 dwarves.
Sweaty.
Sweaty.
Sweaty was the 8th dwarf.
Dwarf.
Dwarf. He slipped away in the mine.
No, never. Just.
So anyway, my point is these communication rules can cross a lot of different types of relationships. And with that,
Is that
I need to go have a sneeze. So
is that our afterthought? Is there
It's a good afterthought.
Chat again. Those people who want to put a question for us, let us answer. Put it in the chat. Let us know what you want to hear from us, and we'll give it to you. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you.
really?
Yeah.
Whatever they want?
What if they ask us? We'll just
Do we have boundaries?
we'll
Nah.
for
We'll do whatever they want.
Whatever they want. You know, we're down. We want to sing, rap, dance for you.
Oh.
We're entertainers.
Should we like learn dances and then do them
No,
like the olden days
I
of
am not
TikTok?
a dancer. I have knobby knees.
Knobby knees.
Knobby knees.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all that to say is communication is important. What was wait, before we finish that? Like, let's just like wrap it up with like a 3-pointer. 1, know each other's hearts
Sorry.
and sneezes.
Know each other's hearts and intentions. Be partners with a person who has good intentions for you, who has a heart for you and a desire to see you succeed and to love you well.
Same team.
And you could be on the same team. So I would say first rule, know each other's heart and be on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
Same team.
And trust that. And then second,
have tactics in place when things get tense and go wrong.
safe words.
Safe
like
words.
Yeah.
Same team.
Even just like looking at your spouse and then grabbing their hands.
Dumb.
Have fun with your spouse, even in the midst of anger. Like,
Which we do.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is like even when we're both mad, we can both acknowledge if something was funny.
Yeah. Like you can't.
And like because we know each other's hearts and we are on the same team, it's like
And it just
whatever's gonna happen, we're gonna let it go.
You just start from there, and it just starts. Everything else will follow. Like you can get through hard times, you get through anything. It's just knowing that she has my back.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and we have been through hard times, and we have been through things that I think would break other people, and would be deal breakers for other people. You know, and it's like,
well, I don't think that comes from us ultimately, like being able to withstand that. Like that comes from like the Lord.
It comes from the Lord, but I'm saying like there's also choices that need to be made. And like for us, this is also a side note. This isn't part of your list, but we made the choice when we were first engaged and deciding to get married that divorce was not going to be an option for us, and it was not going to be on the table. And like that used to be something that I was always afraid of. Like I had this fear of divorce as if it was like
creeps up.
It creeps up on you. You have no idea that it's coming. It could just get you, and it just happens to you. It's something that is thrust upon you, and you have no choice in it. It's like cancer. It's just like something that just happens. And then like growing up, I think is learning that it's a series of your own choices.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes the choice of who you marry. Mm-hmm. That includes the choice of how you handle conflict. Mm-hmm. And all with the power of the Holy Spirit to give you patience and then the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
But it's personal choices that you make.
And it's hard.
It's hard. It is hard work.
And that's okay. Good things are hard. Hard is good thing. Good things are hard. I said it right.
You said it right.
Yeah. I have these one-liners.
I think that good things are hard is better than hard is good, which it sounded like you were about to change it to.
Hard is good.
Stop.
Good things are hard.
Stop.
Me, hungry.
Oh, okay. You're gonna say something.
Me. Anyway,
It's one of those
It's
nights.
one of those nights.
Everything is ridiculous
I
that
think
we say.
we should do like a 3-hour stream and just see where it takes us and just like go for it.
Nobody
Like
would be
ride the
watching.
magic carpet. We have 2 people right now watching.
Two.
And
Hi,
that's
guys.
say hi to them. They were with us.
Hi. I'm so glad that you're here. And with that, we're gonna wrap it up. That's our communication.
Any last thoughts, chat? You can write it in right now.
Right, we'll see it.
We'll see it right now.
This no comments could be lit up with you.
With all of you.
Right now, if you want.
Just
say hi. If you're here, just be like, hi guys. And we'll be like, hey. And then no pressure.
No pressure. No, there's no pressure.
But we love saying hi.
Yes. As we continue this, we'll be back live Tuesday night, 8:00 every week to answer some ridiculous questions, see how marriage and family and faith all combine and how we live this life together from people who make mistakes, people who learn from their mistakes, hopefully, and just try to figure it out. The normies. Is that okay to say? Normies?
Is it?
Is that?
Is it? Let's get out of here.
Other stuff.